So, what are some of the things I remember about when I first came to the United States? I remember I came during the tech boom, which is the late 90s, and everything, seemed great because, everybody was in great spirits, the country was doing well, we were about to end the Clinton administration, and everything looked good. I'm walking my dog here, so he's kind of dragging me back and forth. But I just remember everyone was in great spirits. I remember the election of George Bush, Gore versus George Bush, and I remember that being, like a very unassuming time in the United States because everyone, as I said, was in great spirits. And I remember everything seemed so cheap. You could fill up a car for $10 and you fill up your car. Gas, I think, was like 83 cents per gallon to 99 cents. And it was like, it felt prosperous. I remember one of my friends used to say, this feels like heaven. And coming from South Africa, I did feel like heaven because there was very little crime. You felt safe. At first, we didn't feel safe because we really didn't know, but you could walk at any time of the day. In our area, of course, I'm sure some parts you cannot, but it felt very safe, and you could even, just go out with a stroller with a baby, and you wouldn't feel anything. And at the time, when the first thing you do when you're in a new environment, you observe, right? So on the surface, United States seemed like really the top country in the world. Felt like heaven for us who came here and were coming from a third world country. And I noticed that the systems were developed. When I had my baby, my son at the time, first, let me start with my daughter. We registered her for second grade, so she did only 6 months of second grade. And because we came here in December, and in January she started second grade because she had just finished first grade. In fact, they did give me a hard time because we were coming from South Africa and they wanted to put her in first grade again, and I threw a fit and I told them that my daughter passed with straight A's in South Africa and she's going to second grade, and she did second grade and she passed with flying colors. And I was just and they did try to put her in English as a second language, but they realized that she could speak English. It's just that she had an accent, a South African accent, not like mine, of course, because she went to a private school, unlike me, who went to an all-black school. And so then when my son was born, as soon as I went to, to the clinic and it was established that I was pregnant, everything was set up. I did struggle with insurance because I didn't know how the American system works. In South Africa, when you have insurance, you don't have to worry about anything. Here, there's things called deductibles, and I honestly couldn't wrap my head around it because I'm like, okay, we are paying a premium on a monthly basis, and it's not cheap. Why is it so, why do I have to pay this money? And they said, oh, no, you already satisfied your deductible. The point is, insurance is not straightforward here like in other countries, so you kind of have to read the fine print to know what you're choosing, and there are a lot of calculations they make to make the most money they can make from customers. So you get a lot of like fine print that you have to read. The one thing I forgot to talk about when I was talking about the healthcare system is how much of a big business it is. In the United States, there's so much money that's being made on basically what I would call sickness, and so you see um, everything is so expensive that has to do with medicine, because the dollars that have to go into advertising, these companies have to recoup. And basically the goal of advertising is to make these designer drugs that then they explain what the symptoms are, and then they encourage you to ask your doctor to request that medicine, because if you request that medicine, then they make a lot of money. So that's the big thing. And also it's a big business. That's one point I forgot to make. In South Africa, medicine was still very much about, like, I'm sick, I'm going to go to the doctor, and hopefully they'll prescribe me something that will, like, get rid of the issue. I know in South Africa things have changed a lot today, and I understand that. But I would say another difference is that in the United States, the just regular visits to the doctor are very much recommended, because that's how companies insurance companies now on this side, insurance companies save money, because if you prevent, or at least you are aware of things before they get to a bad stage, the attitude is that you will save the insurance company a lot of money, and hopefully save your life as well, because if you know beforehand, before things start to actually make you sick, then you can prevent stuff that way. So that's one thing that I forgot. But all in all, it's become simpler. And if you cannot afford insurance, today you can buy insurance from the government. I don't know how much the prices are, but before, if you had what is called a pre-existing condition, you couldn't even find insurance, or you would pay astronomical amounts of money. I remember my first job here was to sell cars while I was going to school. I was taking any job I could find, actually, mainly because 9/11 happened, and job opportunities just went from everywhere, hiring to nothing. I remember, everywhere you went, it was now hiring. They couldn't find enough people, and then all of a sudden 9/11 happened, and then there was nothing. Come on, Max. So that was the challenge. But I had a beautiful delivery in a private hospital, and it was a huge difference between how I gave birth to my daughter in a public hospital in South Africa into a private hospital in the United States. My own room, own TV, everything. My husband had a couch to sleep on. Nurses came to your room. You didn't have to get out. It had a bathroom and a bathtub so that you can sit and relax. It was like a hotel. This is the hospital where Luke was born. I see. And giving birth in such an environment was just like huge for me, because, as I said, when I gave birth to my daughter, I was kicked out of the hospital within 6 hours, and I had the most horrible treatment with those nurses judging and just not happy to do their jobs. And the treatment was extremely different here. The nurses in South Africa, they treated you like, okay, you are poor, so this is how we treat poor people. Whereas, and I was just, like a young mom at the time. I needed all the help and all the care and compassion I could get, and I didn't get any. So that gave me a very bad experience, but I was just happy that my daughter was alive and healthy, and we went home. And here I stayed for 2 days in a hospital, And it was the most amazing experience. When you get out of the hospital, they give you all the first needs for your baby, whether you need them or not, like, you know, diapers and stuff like that. And come on, Max. Diapers, you know, like care packages, they give you for free. I don't know why I didn't have many more babies after that. I'm kidding. It's very expensive to raise kids in America. If you want to work, if you want to stay at home, yeah, you can have many kids, but I didn't want to do that, so I kind of had to stop at 2. But anyway.